If I could please welcome Phillip.
The thing I want to talk to you about tonight was the moment in history when I heard about what is now known as climate change, because it is as precise, as immediate and as unforgettable for me as the Kennedy assassination. And of course, climate change is a catastrophe of infinitely greater importance. Do you remember when Hawke had a government? Hawke's Minister for Science was my oldest friend, Barry Owen Jones, and Barry wanted to set up something called the Commission for the Future, a very Orwellian name. And he asked me to run it, and I said, well, before I agree, Barry, what's it for? And he said, I want people to realise that the future is not a given, it is not an inevitability. He said, the future is something we choose. So I said, okay, that sounds intriguing. So I arranged to meet with Australia's best and brightest, and the question I put to them was, how will the world end? With a bang or a whimper? And one by one they spoke to that. Each of them had a completely different scenario of disaster. The last bloke to talk was the quietest bloke of them all. It's often the way, it's the bloke with the little voice who's last listened to. And he said, you're all wrong. He said, the problem is what I see in my laboratory every day. He said, it's the dial on the wall. I said, what's it show? He says, it shows that CO2 is going up and up and up. And he said, my colleagues around the world are seeing exactly the same thing in their laboratories. And they're seeing an implacable increase in global temperature as a consequence. And he said, in our view, he said, the world will be uninhabitable by 2050. This is the early 1980s. I said, does it have a name? He said, yes, it's called the greenhouse effect. I've watched ever since this fascinating prognosis of what the hell is going on. Now, what's going on, according to my old friend, James Lovelock. James Lovelock is now in his early 90s. I've been interviewing Lovelock for 20 years, and this is his view. He says that by 2050 or 2060, at the very latest, billions of people on Earth will have died. Now, if that sounds pretty rough, he's not alone. He's not alone. But even if it's only half as bad as that, it's still pretty bloody serious. Now, one thing I like about James is he's got, for a great pessimist, he's got a very sunny disposition. At the end of each chat, I'd say, well, James, I hope you're still around in a couple of years so we can do this again. And he says it is statistically 90% that you will be alive in 2.5 years' time, no matter how old you are. And I like that. As I get older, I cling to that. But what will happen, I think, is that industry, the bad guys, will become the good guys. And for a very simple reason. We were talking before about how Kevin Rudd's got a terrible habit of declaring war on things. Wars on this, wars on that. Well, of course, that's a proud American tradition. Reagan declared the war on drugs. Bush declared the war on terror. These are unwinnable and stupid wars that make no sense. But I regard the climate change issue as not only the Third World War, but in a very real sense, the only world war in history. The war on the weather, or the weather's war on us, will reach and touch everyone. Doesn't matter where you live. In a mud kraal in Kenya or on Pennsylvania Avenue, it's out to get us all. And it seems to me that when there is a war, you suddenly see industry do quite amazing things. What your outfit is doing may seem a very small cog, but it is a cog, and it can in fact help the process of industries gathering the information they need to do, keeping it, making it rational, making it available for government audit, and learning just what their footprint really is. This is the moment to start building a major green economy, and to do it through everything from sequestration at coal factory, at coal-fired plants, well, across the spectrum to alternative energies and the rest of it. So it's good to be here. I congratulate the company for its initiative. I wish it well. You must stay in touch and tell me how it gets on. But I hope that we can all talk together in 2.5 years' time, if we live that long.